It's time to laugh, to win, and to live the thrill of the action.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. What the hell's going on out here?
No idea what's going on, but I am excited.
Every pick, every play, every game-changing moment.
Unbelievable!
This is You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
To be filling in for my guy Nick Kostos here on You Bet or You Bet. We got a lot of basketball to get into in today's show. Chris Spatola is going to be on the show. He covers college basketball. We have now narrowed the season down to 4 teams. Nick Friedell is going to be on the show in the final hour. We're going to talk a little association. The Knicks could possibly be the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. I've been absolutely insulted by FanDuel. I will share with you that story as well. Plus, we have Bob Nightengale to celebrate the start of the baseball season. Happy opening day to you and yours. Hopefully, your team won your home opener. The baseball season just always feels a little different, you know, when you start off with the win. Let's start with a little bit of basketball, and I want to start here. I think way too many times we throw out the term generational when it comes to talents. Every year we discuss generational talents. For example, you're going to hear that term thrown out a couple of times in this NBA draft process. And don't get me wrong, this freshman class in college basketball is absolutely fantastic. I mean, you got AJ DeBonsta, you got Darren Peterson, Braden Berries, Keaton Wagler, and we can go up and down the list. Koa Pete. I mean, we're talking about whoever the 9th pick in this year's NBA draft probably would have been the number 1 overall pick in some other NBA drafts. So this is a phenomenal freshman class. But no one in this class is generational. We've seen prospects like AJ DeBonsta before. We've seen prospects like Darren Peterson. Now, that's not to say that they can't go off and have phenomenal basketball careers, and these guys can't be Hall of Famers and be faces of the league and win championships. You can do all of those things and be generational. We all respect Dwayne Wade as a basketball player. I don't think any of us consider Dwayne Wade to be a generational talent, if you get the point. We have seen 3 generational talents in the last 30 years in basketball. Shaquille O'Neal is one of those kind of players. If you look at his size, his skill, his athleticism, you knew very early on this guy is going to be a problem and has a chance to be the best player in the league and be the centerpiece of a dynasty the way that he was. LeBron James was one of those prospects as well. We've been talking about LeBron James since he was a junior in high school. Remember the throwback jerseys? Remember the Hummer? Remember watching him play against Oak Hill? And LeBron James was a generational basketball talent. We are in the midst of another generational basketball talent right now in Victor Wembanyama. We've never seen anything like this before. If you were talking about his size, his skill level, his ability to do just about every single thing on the basketball court, Victor Wembanyama is a true generational talent. Did you guys see what he did last night? Headline right now on ESPN, Victor Wembanyama records the 3rd fastest double-double since 97-98. We're talking about the end of the Bulls era. We're talking about the last day, the 3rd fastest double-double since the Last Dance era. Victor Wembanyama had 10 points and 10 rebounds in the first 8 minutes of the basketball game. Maybe you're getting the kids in the car. Maybe you didn't fully hear what I said, and I perfectly get it. It's early in the morning. Victor Wembanyama scored 10 points and had 10 rebounds in the first 8 minutes of the basketball game. He ended the game with 41 points and 16 rebounds. I want to know how he got 10 rebounds in 8 minutes and then only got 6 the rest of the game. But you know what? We're not going to worry about that. Victor Wembanyama was 17 of 27 from the field. He was 3 for 6 from 3-pointers, and this is the 14th time this season he has scored at least 30 points. I'm a big believer that in the NBA, you usually have to go through steps. Like, we'll have this conversation in a couple of weeks about the Detroit Pistons. And are they ready to go from a team that didn't win a playoff series to now being a team that can win the NBA Finals? Victor Wembanyama is someone that makes me believe maybe that's not true. There's two teams, in my opinion, that can realistically come out of the Western Conference. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the Denver Nuggets are a very good basketball team. This Spurs team just has the correct amount of great talent, and they have a truly generational player in Victor Wembanyama. He's an alien. He's a unicorn. We've never seen anything like this. At 7'5", great post player, already the best defensive player in the NBA, a guy who can step out and shoot it, a guy who can put it on the floor, a guy who can get to the basket, a guy that affects the basketball game in so many different ways. This is what generational looks like. Generational is not Darren Peterson. Generational is not AJ DeBonsta. All phenomenal players. You know it when you see it with Victor Wembanyama, and how quickly they've been able to turn over things with the San Antonio Spurs is evidence. This is a team that went from not making the playoffs to now looking like a team that can win an NBA championship. This is a team that was one of the worst teams in the NBA a couple of years ago. You go get Victor Wembanyama. You put a couple of pieces with them. You make one trade. Next thing you know, you're one of the 5 best teams in the NBA. I believe that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is ultimately going to win NBA MVP. This season is not about him. This season is about Victor Wembanyama, and can he take the throne? There seems to be a throne right now for that face of the league conversation. We've been spoiled. I mentioned LeBron James. We've been following LeBron James since he was a junior in high school. He's now playing basketball with his kid. We've been following Kevin Durant since he was in high school, going off to Texas. We've been following his decision to leave Oklahoma City and go to Golden State. We've been following some of these guys for a while. Steph Curry, since he appeared on the scene in the NCAA tournament. These guys have captured our imaginations for 15, 20 years. It's now time for the new school, and it would appear that that new school is going to be led by Victor Wembanyama. Again, we've never seen anything like this. 10 points, 10 rebounds in the first 8 minutes of the game. That is the third fastest double-double that we have seen in the NBA since 97-98. Wembanyama last night, 41 points, 16 rebounds as the San Antonio Spurs win 9 consecutive games and beat the Bulls 129-114. The Bulls are bad. The Spurs are good. That's basically all you need to know. The other thing that I would like to talk about as we are kicking off the show today with You Bet or You Bet, my name is Carrington Harrison, filling in for my guy Nick Kostos, is Tiger Woods. Now, I want to read to you guys a headline from People magazine. Now, I never thought with all of my years of schooling that I would be here reading to you guys from People magazine, but here we are. Why Tiger Woods won't hire a driver. I clicked on this as fast as you could humanly click on something. You'd have thought I was a bot. Hold on, let me read this. Hold on, let me see why. Because you got to explain this to me, Tiger. Buddy, Tiger can't have an OG. He can't have an unk. If you had an unk or OG, somebody would have sat Tiger down a long time ago and said, hey, big dog, you're worth a B, not an M. There's a lot of people you know that are worth M's. You don't know too many human beings that are worth a B. That's what Tiger Woods is worth. Why Tiger Woods won't hire a driver. Let me click on this. I clicked on the story. The headline then read, the golf star doesn't want anyone to watch over him or know what he's doing. All right, I had to kind of perk up in my seat a little bit when I saw this. I wanted to learn more about how Tiger Woods, who has had multiple serious driving incidents, serious ones, no laughing matter, why Tiger Woods just simply won't, with over $1 billion, hire somebody. I'm not here to tell other people how to spend their money, but if there is a suggestion I could make to Tiger Woods, it is this. Tiger, take some of that money. I don't care who you hire. Hell, hire me. I'll leave this job now. I'll let Bill or Kenny, you guys can host. Tiger Woods called and he needs me to drive him around. Tiger, what do you need me to do? Where do you want to go? I'll take you wherever you need to go. We just don't want you driving anymore. Let me read for you some of the story. Following his arrest for driving under the influence near Jupiter Island, Florida, last Friday, a source tells People magazine exclusively that the professional driver has opted not to hire a driver for himself, despite being involved in other car accidents. I feel like we have to talk about the severity of these car accidents. His car rolled over last Friday. The car accident that he was in California probably should have killed Tiger Woods. Like, he was in a serious car accident. So we talk about car accidents. We've all been in a car accident before. A little fender bender, a little bump here. That is not what we're talking about with Tiger Woods. We are talking about serious, life-threatening, you could have died car accidents. The story then goes on and says that Tiger Woods, quote, doesn't want anyone to watch over him or know what he's doing and thinks that he is fine to drive. The source also adds that Tiger Woods prefers to keep his life private and dislikes negative attention. Quote, he is not a social butterfly and prefers to hang out around his home with his kids or hitting golf balls or playing video games. He despises public scrutiny. Let's put a pause here. Let me hit the ABS. Let me tap my head here. Let me do the little finger whirly thing like when they want to challenge in the NBA. Tiger, you know the best way to keep your life private and dislike negative attention? Stay out of car accidents. That's the best possible way that you can do it. We were not talking about Tiger Woods last Friday. He was not going to be talked about on Good Morning America. He was not going to be the headline on SportsCenter. Tiger Woods was not going to be discussed on the ABC World News. You want to know why Tiger Woods was on there? You want to know why TMZ was talking about Tiger Woods last week? Is because he got in another serious car accident. That's how you got in this situation. Tiger, we all want you to do these things. You don't have to be a social butterfly. That's perfectly fine. If you at 50 years old want to hang around your kids or hit golf balls in the backyard or play video games, great. That's what you should be doing at your age as a father, as somebody who has teenage kids, an 18-year-old daughter, a 17-year-old son who's about to go play golf at Florida State. These are the things you are supposed to be doing. Tiger, I implore you. I think we all do. I genuinely want what's best for Tiger Woods. We love Tiger Woods. I know that Tiger Woods has made mistakes in the past, but who hasn't? But deep down, all of us have a love for Tiger Woods. And if you look at the world in which we live in, you can see the effects of Tiger Woods. Would Topgolf be a thing if Tiger had never happened? Think about the popularity of Topgolf. It is something that now you and your girl, you and your wife, you and your kids who maybe have no understanding of how to play golf will go to this location and just hit golf balls because it's fun. You want to know who told us that it was fun? Tiger Woods told us it was fun. Tiger Woods was the one that told you, you know what, man? Maybe you should give golf a chance. We owe Tiger a lot. And as somebody who played a lot of Tiger Woods EA Sports 2005, Tiger, I feel like I owe you this information. My brother, I'm guessing that you can hire some of the best lawyers that money can provide. Again, you are worth $1 billion. Please hire somebody. I don't want to wake up one day and get a notification or get a tweet that something serious has happened to Tiger Woods. I would say that you have been blessed beyond measure. You have gotten in multiple serious car accidents and lived to tell the story about it, and lived to go home and live to talk to your kids and hug your girlfriend and call your ex-wife and spend time with your mom and spend time with your family. You have been blessed. A lot of people who have gotten in the car accidents that you have, they were not able to do those things. Tiger, I don't know who's giving you advice. I don't know who is around you. Maybe you will never hear this message, but this is a need, in my opinion. This is not an extra. This is not like if you got a lot of money, you hire somebody to clean up around because you just don't want to do it. That's an extra. No, this needs to be essential. Hey, if you want to keep doing business with Nike, Nike needs to tell you, hey, we're not doing business with you unless you do this. if you're ESPN and you're making money off the golf thing that he has, I was at a bar a couple of weeks ago, and it was on TV, Tiger Woods hitting in some golf simulator. If you want to keep doing business with us, we're driving you to and from these things. You don't need to be driving anymore. For whatever the reason is. You don't need to be driving cars anymore. So when I hear Tiger saying he won't hire a driver, buddy, get one of those high-priced, expensive attorneys and get somebody who signs the most ironclad NDA. Tiger, hire me. I'll never tell any of your business. I just want to hang out because it looks like you have a good time. I've heard some of the stories. We all have. Tiger, this is serious. This is your life here. I'm sitting here reading this. Doesn't want anybody to watch over him or know what he's doing. He thinks he's fine to drive. I'm telling you right now, we know what you're doing because you keep getting in these car accidents and you think you're fine to drive. The public is telling you no. I'd rather get behind the wheel with LaMelo Ball than ride shotgun with Tiger Woods. This is bad. It really is genuinely bad. Coming up on the other side, we'll get back to Victor Wembanyama, and I want to give you guys my list of the unicorns that we have in sports. We'll do that next. My name is Carrington Harrison, filling in for Nick Kostos on You Bet or You Bet.
pocket four. Wembanyama through the double team. Oh! He dunked on the entire city of Chicago!
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be filling in for my guy, Nick Kostos. We're going to talk some college basketball here coming up in just a little bit. We led today's show talking about Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama had a season-high 41 points last night. He had 16 rebounds. But the big story is Victor Wembanyama had a double-double in the first quarter of the game. Victor Wembanyama had a double-double in the first 8 minutes of the basketball game. It is the third fastest double-double in the play-by-play era, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. Victor Wembanyama is an absolute unicorn in so many different ways. So you know what I decided to do today, folks? I decided to make a list. And this is my list. And Bill, I want to run this by you, and I want to see if you agree. I want to see if you think this is accurate or not. I have labeled this the unicorn list. There are a lot of great players that we watch in sports. These are the 6 players that I would deem to be truly unique, truly special, truly one of one, and a unicorn. Victor Wembanyama, as we've been talking about, is at the absolute top of the list. When you factor in his size, his skill level, his ability to step out in his shots, there is not a single player we have ever seen in basketball that is close, I think, to what all he is. I think he's already the best defensive player in the NBA at 21 years old. Wemby, number 1 on this list. Shohei Ohtani is absolutely on this unicorn list. You could argue that he is the best hitter in Major League Baseball, and if he really, really wanted to, could be the best pitcher in baseball too. I mean, a true one-of-one. We're watching Babe Ruth. Sometimes I think that we are hesitant in modern era and today to say that we are watching the best. Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player that we have ever seen before. That includes Barry Bonds. That includes any person that you can possibly name. Shohei Ohtani is the absolute best and most complete baseball player that we have ever seen. Shohei absolutely goes on this unicorn list. Steph Curry completely revolutionized the game of basketball. We talk a lot about analytics. Steph Curry just is analytics. The reason the game has changed in the way that it has in the last 10 to 15 years or so is because one person broke the math and the algorithm for the game. The way that kids step out now and shoot 40-foot threes and play, that's Steph Curry. So Wemby, Shohei, Steph Curry, LeBron, kind of goes without saying about LeBron, is a unicorn. We talked about it in the open. LeBron James has been playing basketball at this level since he was a junior in high school, and he is still currently playing at this level. We're talking about somebody who is 41 years old and is still one of the top 25 players in the NBA. We've never seen anything like this level of longevity before. LeBron, absolutely a unicorn. I would put Patrick Mahomes on this list. When I look at Patrick Mahomes, he is a combination of just so many different people and so many different skill sets. I also think that you can make the argument that there was not a more successful football player in their 30s this side of Jim Brown than Patrick Mahomes. Jim Brown's just on a completely different level. But if we are talking about all the things that Patrick Mahomes accomplished on a football field before the age of 30, I do not think that there is a comparison. 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time MVP, 2-time NFL MVP, all pros, led the NFL in passing, led the NFL in touchdown. If you add all of those things, I don't know if you could find too many human beings who were more successful at the game of football before the age of 30 than Patrick Mahomes. He absolutely deserves to be on this list. And Caitlin Clark. She's a unicorn. There's been a lot of great women's basketball players. There will continue to be a lot of great women's basketball players. There has only been one that has completely captured our imagination in this way, where you stop and say, I've never seen anybody do these things before. I've never seen somebody at this level play at this level before, and that you gravitate towards. Caitlin Clark is a unicorn in the same way that Steph Curry is. That's my list. Victor Wembanyama, Shohei, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Patrick Mahomes, and Caitlin Clark. Now, Bill, before you comment, because I want to give you a chance, I thought about putting Aaron Judge on this list. I really thought about putting him on here. But then I started to think, how much of a unicorn can you be if I'm not afraid of you when the games are most important? Can you be on this special list? Can I put you on this unicorn list if on October 17th I'm not afraid to throw to you? Can I put you on this list if on October 21st you're likely to go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts? If in the most important series, the World Series is on the line, if I'm not terrified of you coming up to bat, can I put you on this special unicorn list? So no question, I think Aaron Judge is the second best baseball player in the world. If you don't strike fear in me in the greatest moments, I can't put you on this list. LeBron, 10 NBA Finals. Steph Curry absolutely puts that fear in you. Patrick Mahomes, the Super Bowls, all of those things. I can't put Aaron Judge on this list. He was the only person that gave me a little bit of pause. He was the only person that I was thinking, man, can I put him on this list? And then I came to the determination, no. Because he's two different players. Now, if we're talking about if it's a June game against the Tigers, a day game at Yankee Stadium, oh my goodness, don't throw to him. He's going to go 3 for 3. He's going to hit 3 home runs. They're going to walk him 2 extra times. He's going to be phenomenal. If it's a October game against the Tigers, oh, he's striking out 3 times. Come on now. You know that. You know he's striking out. I can't put Aaron Judge on this list. Bill, this is my official unicorn list. Wemby, Shohei, Steph, LeBron, Patrick Mahomes, Caitlin Clark. Is there anybody you would take off this list? Is there anybody you would add? Oh, I don't hear Bill. All right, we'll get back to Bill. I threw it to him. He didn't catch it. You know who he was? He was Aaron Judge. He was Aaron Judge in October. That's who he was. He was Aaron Judge in October. I was ready. I threw it to him. Didn't get it. That's my list. I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think on who your unicorn list could potentially be. But that is my 6 with Wemby, Shohei, Steph Curry, Bron, Patrick Mahomes, and Caitlin Clark. Maybe I know a little technical difficulties. We'll get to it here coming up in a little bit. I do want to hear everybody's answer to this. While we fix some of the technical issues, I want to share this little bit with you guys from college basketball because I was doing my podcast rounds yesterday. And I'm listening to a bunch of these different podcasts, and I'm hearing what everybody has to say about the Elite Eight and everything. And I heard a lot of frustration with John Shire. And I get it. Usually when the teams lose, somebody has to be the blame. We got to point the finger at somebody. And if you want to put it on the coach, that's fine. You're the adult in this room. You guys had a 19-point lead. You had a 15-point lead at halftime, and you guys blew it. And somebody has to be the one to wear it. And we're not really going to put it on the 17, 18-year-old Caden Boozer. We're going to put it on the adult. But I'm not here to make any excuses for John Shire. Not at all. I just want to remind you how hard winning in the NCAA tournament is. And sometimes I think we just underestimate how hard it is to be the absolute best. I went through this list. We all respect Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo is a phenomenal head coach. Tom Izzo has 1 championship at his time at Michigan State. Mark Few, I would say we have seen a blue blood. We have seen one of those tier 1 programs develop overnight. It was like a town that just appeared out of nowhere, like it was on Sim City. That is what the Gonzaga Bulldogs have been in our lifetime. We have seen a team that we did not talk about in 1995 that became the IT program in 2015. That's really due to one person and then building it up. Mark Few has been to 2 Final Fours since he's been at Gonzaga. He has not won a national championship since he has been there. I think you could argue, if we were talking from a X's and O's perspective, that Rick Pitino is the best college basketball coach that we have ever seen. If we were talking about what I've seen him do, what I saw him do at Kentucky, what I saw him do at Louisville, what I saw him pop up and do currently at St. John's, building that program back to its former glory, I think you have seen Rick Pitino show an ability to do in a lot of different places. Rick Pitino has 2 championships. He's been coaching D1 basketball since 1989. We're talking about almost 40 years of coaching. He has 2 national championships. Bill Self, phenomenal coach, had all the success in the world at Kansas. Bill Self has only been to 3 Final Fours and has 2 national championships. Roy Williams at Kansas could not win a national championship. All I'm saying is, in a single elimination tournament, like the way that the NCAA tournament is set up, this is not a series. This is a one and done. You make a mistake, you turn the ball over, you're done. Your season is over. It's really, really hard to successfully navigate that 6 straight times. For those of you that gamble, you know how hard it is to hit a 6-leg parlay. That's what we're talking about in the NCAA tournament. It's always one leg that gets you. And that one leg got Duke on Sunday afternoon. It got them. Just the right team, the right coach, and you could just feel the momentum starting to shift in the other direction and just chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. And next thing you know, you look up and it's like, how did UConn win this game? And that is what happened. I think Jon Scheyer obviously is a phenomenal head coach. He is a fantastic head coach. We've seen him now do this for the last handful of seasons, but winning at this level, whether we're talking about in college basketball, whether we're talking about in the NBA, whether we're talking about in the NFL, it's hard. We can make the same argument in the NFL. Sean Payton, phenomenal coach, only has 1 Super Bowl, only has the 1 appearance. Aaron Rodgers, maybe one of the most talented quarterbacks you've ever seen, only has the 1 Super Bowl, only has the 1 appearance. Drew Brees, we can go up and down the list. If we are talking about a scenario in which it is single elimination and only one person can be the best, only one person can be the best. We do all this talk for 5, 6, 7 months. At the end, only one person gets to claim king, and you have such a short amount of time to be able to do it. Jon Scheyer will eventually win a national championship. He's too good of a coach, and the program that he's got, they're rock solid. They're humming. They're absolutely humming. Look at the talent that they get. Look at the consistency that they have. Look at the conference that they're in and their ability to just gobble up wins in the regular season, how they challenge themselves in the non-con. I have no question, no doubt in my mind, if Jon Scheyer will go down to be one of these kinds of coaches in the Tom Izzo, in the Mark Few, in the Rick Pitino, in the Roy Williams bag. I think he's already on that trajectory. Well, if that's the case, then Jon Scheyer wins 1 or 2 times. If that's the case, then Jon Scheyer has 4 Final Four appearances with 2 national championships. We're talking about a guy who we think can go on a 30-year run at Duke. He'll win the national championship 2 times, maybe 3 times at the absolute most. So he is going to have way more stories like Sunday than he is going to have winning the championship and cutting down the nets at the end. It's just really, really hard, really, really difficult once you get to this level. Coming up on the other side, I want us to go around the room here as a team, because if there's one thing I think that we can all identify with, it is that absolutely everybody has NCAA tournament hurt. You are a fan of a team, you had a bet, you had a bracket, you had something going on, and you were crushed. You were devastated. You were right there. You were going to win your league. And next thing you know, some kid you never heard of, it's a 40-foot shot that absolutely crushes your dream. Every single person listening has a story of NCAA tournament hurt, kind of like what Duke experienced on Sunday. We'll talk about it next. Keep it right here on You Bet or You Bet.
it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good! We're point 3! UConn goes in front!
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
We have an update on Tiger Woods. We'll get to that coming up in a bit, but let me remind you that this segment is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. You can get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. I also want to tell you guys to log into the BetMGM app to receive your Any Sports Parlay Boost token. To use the Parlay Boost token, add a parlay wager made up of any sports wager. Add that to your bet slip to activate the token. If you win your wager that was made with the token, you will receive the extra winnings. I encourage you to download the BetMGM app today. I just read this during the commercial break. I will read it to you. This is from TMZ. TMZ is just all-knowing. The headline, Tiger Woods was found with 2 pills in his pocket during the DUI. The story reads as follows. Cops say that Tiger Woods had 2 hydrocodone pills in his pocket at the time of his DUI arrest, with the golf superstar claiming his cell phone and radio distracted him prior to his rollover crash. TMZ Sports has obtained the arrest affidavit in connection to the incident that was last Friday. The story goes on as follows. According to the report, Tiger Woods was sweating profusely after the crash, and a deputy noted that his movement was lethargic and slow. While he removed his sunglasses, the deputy observed Tiger's eyes to be bloodshot and glassy, and his pupils were extremely dilated. Tiger Woods was asked if he takes prescription medication. He replied, quote, I take a few. During a search of Tiger Woods, the deputy stated they located 2 white pills inside his left pant pocket with the marks M367 revealed to be hydrocodone. And then goes on that Tiger Woods had hiccups during the investigation, etc., all of those things. This confirms what I think most of us already suspected. When we originally got the information, it said that Tiger did not test for alcohol and blew a 0.0, yet got a DUI. You could put 2 and 2 together. We have seen dash cam videos of Tiger Woods in this state. I think it was very, very clear to come to the conclusion of what happened here with Tiger Woods. On one side of this, and I want to be real delicate with the words here, I think that Tiger Woods is in a lot more physical pain than we can imagine. I think Tiger Woods' body is broken down. And I don't think that it is a coincidence that after he plays golf in that golf simulator, whatever thing that he is in, a couple days later, this happened. This is what I think. This is just my feelings, my read on this, and I thought this when this originally happened, and I think that this most recent report from the arrest affidavit kind of confirms it. I think Tiger was in a lot of physical pain after playing golf a couple of days ago, and Tiger took a couple of pain pills. Tiger thinks he is in much better shape than he actually is. He gets behind the wheel of a car, and he gets into this car accident. The first step is just admitting it. That's why when we were talking about this on the open, when Tiger says that he doesn't need a driver, yes, you do. I don't think the Tiger is going to stop being in physical pain because of his injuries. I mean, we're talking about back injuries, knee injury. I think Tiger's body is in knots. I don't think that that's going to stop anytime soon. And if you're talking about living a healthy and productive life, this just has to be a part of it if you're Tiger Woods. So I understand on one side where he says, I don't want people to know what I'm doing. Tiger, this is more than this. This is not about peeping what you're doing. This is about keeping you safe and keeping those around you safe. And I don't know if Tiger should be driving a vehicle anytime soon. Just based on this information, based on the information that we have had in the past. I mean, this is Tiger's 3rd serious accident. He got in an accident in 2021 in Los Angeles. He had the incident back in 2009 that we know. He also got another DUI where he was found asleep at the wheel back in 2017. That got him reckless driving. He got a fine. He got 1 year probation. This is your 4th that we know of. I'm imagining there are more, but these are the fourth that we know of incidents with Tiger Woods. So I'm praying for Tiger. I want Tiger to be fine. But hearing this story, step one is admitting that you got a problem, that you got an issue. And this sounds like an issue to me that I would just try to get under control. You're 50 years old. You got teenage kids. One of your kids about to go to college. Don't you want to see this through? Just got to do something a little bit different. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by Chris Spatola. He covers college basketball. Certainly a lot of college basketball to talk about. The transfer portal actually opens up in college basketball in exactly 1 week from today. The North Carolina job is open. Could Kansas possibly come open? As we're still waiting on a decision from Bill Self. We got the Final Four. There's a lot of college basketball news that is currently happening right now, and we'll get to that coming up in a bit with Chris Spatola. I want to go around the room really quickly, and I want us all to share a story. And the story that I want us to share is about tournament pain, because we all have experienced some form of tournament pain. Now, I very rarely have been on the positive end of tournament excitement. I cheer for the Missouri Tigers. So my tournament excitement has to stem from the fact that I have a 17-1 UConn bet that when that kid hit that shot, that's as fired up as I've ever been with the NCAA tournament. Yes! Oh, I live to fight another day. That's where I have to get my tournament excitement from. I can't get it from my team. My team's never been to the Final Four. They've been having the NCAA tournament since the 40s. They expanded in the 1980s. My team has never played on the final weekend. So all I have is tournament pain. All I have is tournament disappointment. I can't tell you a great story of how no, I don't have any of those stories. All I have is pain and frustration and anger and bitterness. I hate March. Let me tell you a story. Missouri was in their last year in the Big 12. They are going to join the SEC. And let me tell you, this Missouri Tigers team was loaded. Oh, they were so good. They ended up getting a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. But before that, the Missouri played in the Big 12 tournament. Now, the Big 12 tournament is in my hometown of Kansas City. Missouri wins the Big 12 tournament. And mind you, they are going to the SEC. They've already made the announcement. This is their last year. And let me tell you that one of my favorite college basketball memories is standing there inside the Sprint Center in downtown Kansas City. And for the final 5 minutes, all the Missouri fans came together to chant SEC. And to see the Big 12 commissioner have to hand Missouri that Big 12, oh my goodness, it warmed my spirit. Missouri is going to the NCAA tournament. They're a 2 seed. And let me tell you, somebody who ruined my life, Kyle O'Quinn. Missouri is the 2 seed, and they're playing Norfolk State. Now, some of you don't know this, but back in the day, I used to intern for Nick Wright when he was here in Kansas City. He used to host afternoons. And I'll never forget this. I had a chance to get the Norfolk State coach on the show. I was, intern, producer, all those things. And I remember telling Nick, I said, you know what? I don't think it's that big of a deal because Missouri's going to roll them. He said, okay, I trust you. He gave me the day off so I could watch the game. I appreciate that. That's what a good boss does. He gave me the day off. Said, you know what? Your team is playing during the middle of the show. I know you want to watch. You're not going to be focused. Just take the day. You know what? Thank you. Kyle O'Quinn ruined my life that day. Missouri is a 2 seed. They lost 86-84. Kyle O'Quinn played 37 minutes, was 10 of 16 from the floor. He had 26 points and 14 rebounds against Missouri that day. And one of the most startling upsets in NCAA history. I haven't enjoyed the tournament since. This was 15 years ago. I haven't enjoyed the tournament since. It's a miserable experience. Missouri has won exactly one NCAA tournament game since this story that I'm telling you about. It's the worst. All I'm here is telling you is every single person has NCAA tournament pain. So I'm not here to laugh at Duke. I'm not here to laugh at your pain because I know how it feels. I've been there before. You don't kick a man while he's down. A man's trying to tell you about the love that lost. You're going to sit there and make fun of him. We all have the one that got away. We all have the love that was lost. And my love for the NCAA tournament was lost that day because of Kyle O'Quinn. And you know what? I was thrilled to see in the next game, he was 1 of 9 from the floor, and he only scored 4 points. Good. Serves you right. You should have done that the game before. I think he got drafted because he cooked Missouri and had a decent career in the league. I hate Kyle O'Quinn. I really do. I hope he has a terrible day today. I really do. I hope that he stubs his baby toe as he walks into a door. I hope that he hits his funny bone on his desk at work today and he has that pain shoot up his arm. That's what I want for Kyle O'Quinn today because he ruined my life is what he did. That was supposed to be our Final Four year and he ruined it. Bill, you're back. It's good to see you. I'm happy that you're here. Tell us your story of NCAA tournament pain.
Yeah, we are free of technical issues now. So here's two. I'm going to give you one from a bracket and one from a school perspective. So I went to Syracuse. My senior year, Syracuse was really good. Started off 19-0, beat UConn, charged the floor. Everything was great. Got cold at the end of the season. They ended up being a 4 seed. Like everyone was projecting them as a 2 or 3. They ended up at a 4. Not only did they end up with a 4, they end up at a 4 with Michigan State. That was the Mateen Cleaves freight train year. That game, for some reason, they put it in Detroit. The court was green and black. Syracuse raced out to a huge lead, and the crowd rallied Michigan State back into it. I'm a senior in college. I'm loving this team. And Michigan State ends up blowing them out in the second half. It was an absolute collapse. And to this day, I think that was one of the biggest screw jobs the NCAA tournament has ever done, is giving Syracuse a 4 seed that year, and it happened to be my senior year of college. On the bracket, 2013, I had Michigan over Louisville. I had the best bracket I ever had in my life. I had 2 regions perfect. Didn't miss a game. But the pool I was in, it weighted it so heavy for the champion that I had Michigan over Louisville instead of vice versa, and I lost. Had Michigan won that game, a $20 entry fee would have had near 5 figures as the result of the huge pool I was in. So the pain of that championship game when I had the best bracket I could possibly have done, that was brutal as well.
Tournament pain. Everybody has experienced serious tournament pain. It doesn't really love anybody. It doesn't. It doesn't love Duke. It doesn't love Kansas. It doesn't love Syracuse. The tournament doesn't love. The only people that it loves is CBS. That's the only people. It loves Bill Raftery. That's who the tournament loves. Jim Nance. It doesn't love literally anybody else. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by Chris Spatola. We'll talk some college buckets. Keep it right here. It's You Better You Bet.
ready? It's time to laugh, to win, and to live the thrill of the action.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. What the hell's going on out here?
No idea what's going on, but I am excited.
Every pick, every play, every game-changing moment.
Unbelievable!
This is You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
I can't hear him.
Hey, Chris, good morning, man. Hey, Chris, good morning, man.
What's up, Carrington? How you doing, buddy?
On the show today, So let's start here with the NCAA tournament. We have 4 amazing teams heading into this thing. I think Arizona is the favorite heading into this. Do you see Arizona as the favorite, or do you think it's Michigan?
No, I would agree. Arizona, I have felt. I've felt all year they're the most talented team. They're the team with the fewest holes. They can kind of beat you in a whole bunch of different ways. So if you gotta, in the world we live in, you gotta nail one down. I'd probably say Arizona, but you know how it is, Carrington. Like when you get to the Final Four, all 4 of these teams are really good, and they're all champions of their region, and they've had to win 4 games to get here. And obviously, that environment, anything can happen, especially when you're talking about, arguably the second best team in Michigan. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a great game. But I would agree with you. I think Arizona going in is the favorite.
Absolutely, Chris. Absolutely. Get the technical difficulties fixed, and we'll cut the double audio here. Very happy to catch up with Chris Spatola. We'll get back to him here coming up in a bit. It's funny the way that this thing has kind of seeded its way out, because I think very clearly heading into the NCAA tournament that Arizona and Michigan are the 2 best teams. So it's a little bit unfortunate that those 2 teams are on the exact same side of the bracket, and we're not going to get to see those 2 teams potentially face each other in the national championship. I'm just happy that we get to see the 2 teams that I think are the best. It has a little bit of an NFL feel to me, where I think many of us knew heading into the Super Bowl that the Rams and the Seahawks, that those were the 2 best teams in the NFL. And whoever came out of the AFC was kind of feel the way that this UConn-Illinois game feels, and that the Super Bowl winner was going to be whoever won the NFC Championship game. That's exactly how it played itself out in the Super Bowl. I do wonder if this Final Four is going to play itself out. I think that Michigan-Arizona just has a chance of being an absolute all-time basketball game. 2 incredibly evenly matched teams going up against one another. I'm really excited for that game that we have coming up on Saturday. I also think that Illinois and UConn has a chance of being a really good game too, but I do think that Michigan-Arizona, that is just the marquee game of this thing. Let's go back to the phone lines here with Chris Spatola, an analyst with ESPN, also on SiriusXM College Basketball Radio. Chris, you there?
I'm here, brother.
I'm sorry about that, the technical difficulties, man. Let's kind of jump right back into it. I think Arizona is the best team in this thing. I thought that coming into this. They have done nothing to change my opinion on all of this. I see them as the favorite. Who do you see as the favorite between Michigan and Arizona?
Yeah, I would agree with you. And like you, I mean, since really the end of November, I have felt that Arizona's the best team. I think they have the fewest holes. I think they can beat you in the a number of different ways. But I mean, you know how it is, Carrington. You get to this point, a Final Four. I mean, all of these teams are champions of their region. All of these teams have won 4 games to get to this point, and that environment can do a lot, to affect the team, especially in a team in Arizona that's starting 3 freshmen. So, I think Arizona's the favorite going in, but I think that Arizona-Michigan game, I think will be a good game and a close game.
Yeah, I think so as well. You're right about Arizona. They just have the right mix of everything. They have the right mix of youth and experience. They have the right mix of just talent and depth. Like, I really like this Arizona team from really top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the things you said are true. I think the other thing that you have to look at, especially again against the two best teams, I think the two best teams right now in the country. The thing you have to look at too is like how do you impact the game? And in the case of Arizona, they're doing it from the two highest offensively from the two highest percentage places you can. I mean, they are dominating in the paint. They are averaging 43 points a game in the paint. In their 4 tournament games, they're plus 44 in the paint. And they're dominating at the foul line. They're plus 76 at the foul line in the 4 games. So when you are dominating at the two highest percentage areas offensively, they just lean on you. And we saw that against Purdue as well as Purdue played in that first half. They just lean on you. And, they've got an outstanding point guard, a guy who can control the game in Jaden Bradley. And then again, the point I made in the first question, they don't have any real holes. And again, I think inexperience may be the biggest weakness, if you want to call it that. I thought inexperience affected Duke in that game against UConn, so I think it's a factor. But I think when you can dominate the way they have at the foul line and at the paint, and they are so solid defensively with how big they are and how they can get after the ball on the perimeter, I'm with you. I think they have the fewest holes.
Arizona's head coach, Tommy Lloyd, has a major decision. What do you think he's ultimately going to do when the season is up?
Yeah, great question. I mean, he's got a great job, and I'm always a believer when you analyze jobs, like, can you get to a Final Four at the job you're in? And he's obviously answered that question. I think when you have it rolling at a place, especially in this day and age, where, as you know, Carrington, things can change quickly. If you have it rolling, I'm a believer that the coach makes the job. And so I think you'd be hard-pressed to leave a place like Arizona that's got the following and all of that. They do. I mean, their NIL, it has been better than North Carolina. Now, obviously, North Carolina's got some deep pockets, and we'll see if that ends up having an impact. I have a hard time thinking Tommy Lloyd has been a West Coast guy his entire life. I have a hard time thinking that he'll leave that job. But if there is one, certainly North Carolina would be that. But I have a hard time thinking that he's going to leave.
Obviously, the Carolina job is better than the Arizona job, just historically. I don't know why you would leave Arizona. The weather, the expectations are drastically different at Arizona than they are at North Carolina. You also just have the entire West Coast with there not being another dominant program. If you're a top player from Los Angeles, there's really only one school that you can stay out west in the time zone and still compete at this really high level. There's just so many advantages at Arizona. I would stay, but I could definitely understand the allure of being the head coach at North Carolina.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Especially with where Carolina's at now, I think if you're Tommy Lloyd, you can kind of look at that and say, well, I can make that better, and to be able to play in the Duke-Carolina rivalry and all that. The other thing I would throw into the Arizona calculus is you're playing in the Big 12 now. It's no longer, obviously, the Pac-12. You're playing in what I thought was, at least, in the upper half, was the best conference in college basketball this year. A commissioner who has been very, very basketball forward in terms of his outlook. So I think that's another calculus. Do you want to coach in the Big 12 at a place like Arizona, or do you trust, that the ACC will sort of be where it was this year versus last? And anyway, I think there's a lot to take into account. But your point about, again, Tommy Lloyd's a West Coast guy. Would you want to come all the way east and start something at a place like Carolina when you've got a good thing going? You're coming off at least the Final Four. And you get to play in a conference like the Big 12.
Right now, we're talking to Chris Spatola. He's an analyst at ESPN. He also is a host for SiriusXM College Sports Radio, going through the Final Four and some of the top stories in college basketball. How do you feel about Illinois-UConn?
Yeah, I think, again, I would make, first of all, the same point about Illinois I made about Arizona. They just lean on you. They're very, very methodical in what they do, and they're dominating in the paint and at the foul line. They're plus 64 in the paint in the 4 games, and they're plus 55 at the foul line. It's hard to beat teams, is my overall point with Arizona and Illinois, Carrington, when you are being dominated in those 2 high percentage areas. I think for Connecticut, they've got to do 3 things. One, they've got to make some shots. They obviously, didn't shoot it well, their first 18 shots from 3 against Duke, but they actually shot it well in that Michigan State game and UCLA game. They hadn't been shooting well coming into the tournament, but they did in those 2 games, and then obviously made some big ones late against Duke. You've got to be able to make some shots against Illinois. You've got to be able to create. You need shooting to create space. That's what happened in the second half to Iowa. They couldn't shoot it, and if you can't shoot it, you can't space it, and if you can't space it, you can't drive it, especially against Illinois' size. So I think for Connecticut, they've got to be able to make some shots, and then defensively, they've got to be able to disrupt a little bit of that Illinois offensive rhythm. Illinois is very methodical. I mean, they're just very methodical in how they run their stuff. They play at a really slow pace, and they are looking for mismatches offensively in the half court. You've got to have a way to be able to disrupt that rhythm a little bit like Connecticut did in the second half against Duke, forcing some turnovers. They were much more disruptive. And then you've got to be able to defensive rebound. You've got to be able to finish those possessions. I mean, like Illinois, they're as good an offensive rebounding team as there is in the country. Their offensive rebounding is due in part to size and want to, but it's also due, man, to that 5-out offense they run. All of those guys, and they send all 5 guys to the glass, all of those guys are getting a run. When you start out on the perimeter, you're getting a run to that offensive glass. And so if you're Connecticut, you can defend as well as you can and want to that first shot, but you've got to be able to finish those possessions against Illinois with a defensive rebound.
It's really hard for me to pick against Dan Hurley because if we were talking about player for player, I'm with you when it comes to Illinois. I think Illinois is the better team. I thought Duke was the better team against UConn. I mean, Dan Hurley since 2023, 2 titles, 3 Final Fours. They are 17-1 in March. You want to talk about a coach that just figures out a way to win. That's what Dan Hurley's been in this tournament the last few years.
Yeah, obviously. That program, first of all, going back to, the number, you've seen the numbers going back to at least 1999, the run that UConn has made. And he has obviously carried that mantle. I think that the thing that you have seen, first of all, with Connecticut this year is they've been very inconsistent. And I think that inconsistency has a lot to do with their record and, the fact that St. John's really dominated the Big East throughout the year. And you even saw the inconsistency in that Duke game. I mean, let's not forget, they were down 19 in that game, 15 at the half, as we all know. And then what you saw in the second half is that feistiness, that Dan Hurley imprint, that feistiness, that ability to impact the game with their defense, and then the ability to never quit. And that's kind of who Connecticut's going to have to be in this game. They're going to be outsized. I mean, you saw that in the Duke game. Duke was so much bigger than UConn. Illinois is going to be so much bigger than UConn. But UConn's kind of got to play that, that sort of feisty, scrappy, tough, never say die type of a team, which I think is the impact you're alluding to with what Dan Hurley has brought to that program and made of that program. But look, these other coaches at this point outside of Dusty May, they don't necessarily have the Final Four DNA, but obviously they are. All 4 of these coaches are outstanding, and I think it'll be an interesting chess match. That UConn-Illinois game, kind of what Dan Hurley has up his sleeve to, again, disrupt that rhythm and methodical nature that Illinois wants to play at.
There's been a lot of conversation about the loss of Cinderella in this tournament. And yes, we might not have the Loyola Chicagos or those kind of programs, but this tournament, the drama, the single elimination, it's still second to none. And when you get a game like we just got on Sunday between Duke and UConn, I don't care about Cinderella. I want to see the best teams on the biggest stage, and that's what we've gotten, I think, pretty consistently in this tournament.
Yeah, the last 2 years. We had the same thing last year. The higher seeds dominated the tournament, and then we had, the 4 best teams really all year in college basketball who ended up making the Final Four, all 1 seeds. And this year's been the same. And you know, I think there's a lot, NIL, the portal, conference realignment. There's a lot of things at play to I think, make that the case and make that probably the trend moving forward. But I'm with you, man. Like that's what we want to see. And that Duke UConn game also tells you and shows you just the sudden nature of this entire thing, where, you know, you think at halftime, if you're Duke, you think you're on your way to a Final Four, a second straight Final Four, and things can change suddenly. And it's the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. It's why we tune in. It's the drama that's inherent in this event and in this tournament. And when you've got those brands, when you've got those you know, the name on the front of the jersey that has tradition in this event, it makes it even better, I think.
I got two final questions here. First question is NBA draft related with college basketball. Who would you draft number 1 overall? Who is a player that you think could go like 8th in this NBA draft that could end up just being a superstar, multiple-time all-star kind of player because of how deep this freshman class is?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I would probably, as we sit here right now, and again, a lot of it has to do, especially with how good this class is, a lot of it's going to have to do with who is drafting at up top. Like, I think this is a draft where I don't think there's necessarily going to be a consensus this is the best player. But I would probably take Debanza now just because of his size and skill set and everything that you've seen all year. I think Darius Acuff has made a real push here. And again, if it's a team drafting at 1 that needs a point guard and needs one of those scoring types of guards, the way that Acuff has played, I think you can be okay. I think you can sleep well at night taking that guy over a Debanza. Like I would have, and we didn't get to see him in this tournament, obviously, but I have had all year in my top 3, Caleb Wilson. Like I think that's a player that may end up having the highest ceiling in this tournament. And then look, I don't know where these other guys are going to go. I'm just telling you right now, like I think Kingston Flemings and Keaton Wagler, like I would put those two guys, I don't know if they'd go in the top 5, or I could see a Wagler maybe slipping to something like 8th. But Keaton Wagler to me he's a carbon copy of Tyrese Halliburton. And I think we saw how effective Halliburton's been in the NBA and was in the playoffs last year. I think Wagler's the same kind of impact. And I think we'll see, how he plays in this Final Four. But that's one of those guys where I think you could get into the analysis and nitpick some things with him. And he may end up going, down and towards that bottom of the top 10, like an 8, like you're saying, and a guy who could make a real impact for a long time in the NBA.
I'll get you out of here with this last question. We are a week away from the transfer portal, so Kansas needs to know and answer, I would think, pretty quickly. What do you think Bill Self is going to decide?
I think he's going to stay. I think he has left some unfinished business on the table here the last few years, and I think that will bring him back. I think he may have to figure out a different way of going about it. I think his staff, I have said for the last few years, and he's made some changes, but I think his staff has to have more of an impact. For example, like a John Shire had for Coach K over the last few years of Coach K's career, where maybe that guy is the successor. Is it Jacques Vaughn? And that guy takes a little bit more of a hands-on role. I don't think he's ready to give it up. I think he's left some unfinished business, and I think Coach Self, knowing him the way I do, I think he's a guy who would not let that stand and wants to go out on a better, more in control note than he has. And so I think he comes back. I hope he does. I think we need him in the game, and I think he's certainly one of the best. And I think having him on the sideline at Kansas is great for the game.
That is Chris Spatola joining us on the show. He's with ESPN. He also is with SiriusXM College Sports Radio. Chris, looking forward to a great Final Four. Happy to talk to you this morning.
No doubt, Carrington. You be well, man.
Absolutely. That's Chris Spatola joining us on the show. We're having a little bit of an NBA draft debate here. We'll get to that on the other side. Plus, there's a viral picture going around that I got a lot of questions about. We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's You Bet or You Bet.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports.
Good morning. Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you. We'll get back to serious sports things here coming up in just a bit. Now, this segment, for those of you that are watching this segment is going to make a little bit more sense for those of you that are listening on the radio, but let me do my best to explain it. There is a viral picture that is going around, supposedly, from a 7-on-7 tournament out in North Carolina. Now, the picture is a man, and he is standing there with his dukes up. If you guys can put it up on the board. He is standing with his dukes up. There is a referee that is also there that also has his dukes up. So if you're watching it on the video, you see dude on the left got his dukes up. There's another official who appears to be in a fighting stance. And then there's one gentleman on the ground knocked out. So it's three people in the frame. Guy planking on the ground. Looks like he's taking a nap, like he passed out, like it's Weekend at Bernie's. It's an official. And then it's a man with his dukes up. So this supposedly happened this weekend. Couple of things here, people. Number one, we all got cameras on our phone. You tell me a scenario in which you are at a football game, a 7-on-7 game, and there is somebody who knocks out one of the referees and looks like he is about to knock out the other referee. Why is there no video of this? Kenny, this morning, did you find a video of this? Bill, this morning, when I said I want to talk about this, did you find a video of this? There is no video on the internet. When there was that fight out in Birmingham, remember that fight on the boat? We had so many different angles and perspectives of this fight. How could a referee get knocked unconscious during a 7-on-7 event? People everywhere, kids everywhere, they can't stay on their phone. They're on their phone playing 7-on-7 football. We don't have any evidence of this beatdown. I'm calling shenanigans here. Yes, I'm calling shenanigans. I don't believe this. I don't think this exists. I think this is fake. I think this is staged. I think we're being tested. There's no chance if you were at a football game, I don't care what level it is, if you were telling me that somebody knocked out one, maybe we don't have video of the first dude get knocked out. We definitely would have the video of what happens afterwards. We would get a post-fight wrap-up of what's happening. I'm calling shenanigans. I really am. I'm calling shenanigans on this video. That's number one. Number two. Now, this is going to hit home for some people because we all played sports, right? Baseball, basketball, football, whatever sport you played as a kid. Maybe it was your parent, but we all know our teammate, our classmate who had the over-involved parent. That had the crazy mom, had the crazy dad. That's one of my biggest fears in life. I don't want to be that. I don't. Think about it. When I just said that right now, there is your friend that comes to your mind, and his dad was crazy. His dad was always yelling at the games. His dad was always loud. His dad was always getting into it with other coaches, with other parents. And I remember fill in the blank's dad. Now that we are the parents, now that we're the uncles, we're the aunts, we're the family members that are going to this game, don't let that person be you. I'm telling you, don't let that person be you. You don't want your kid, when your kid's walking down the junior high hallways, you don't want little Timmy to go up to your son and be like, hey man, what's wrong with your pops? Your pops is crazy. He was yelling at the referee during that game. He threatened to fight one of them. You don't want to be that. I'm telling you, there's some things in life you don't want to be. And the crazy parent at the basketball game, at the baseball game, that's super high on the list of something you don't want to be. I'm not saying you got to be the cool parent. I'm not saying you got to be that. I don't think you got to be the mom for Mean Girls. But I also don't think that you want to be known as Crazy Pops at the game. Michael, I'm going to throw it to you first. I think that picture is fake. Do you agree with me? Because we would have a video by now. You can't knock out a referee and us not have video in 2026, and you want me to think that this is real. That's AI. That's fake. That's not real.
Yeah, no. Like, we're in an era where everybody's got a phone in their pocket. Everyone's got everything. Like, this would be all over YouTube and TikTok and everything. My vote is staged, in my professional opinion.
I'm with you. 100%. I'm with you. 100%. I'm with you. I think it's fake. Absolutely. I think it's shenanigans. I think it's staged. I'm just not buying it. I'm not believing it. It genuinely doesn't make any sense to me that you could be knocked out in 2026 with no video evidence of it. If there's no video evidence of it, it didn't happen. Like tomorrow, if you told me, oh, hey, this guy got knocked out at the bar yesterday. If you don't have any video of it, it never randomly just occurs. There's normally, if you get knocked out like that, there's some buildup. There's some anticipation. There's a release date. You get a trailer before. The movies just don't appear. It's not like tomorrow, they're just like, oh, hey, here's this. No, they let you know. You normally get warnings when a fight's about to happen. There's some back and forth. There's some arguing. You're kind of getting ready just in case something pops off. And then it pops off, like in that situation. Can you guys pull the picture up one more time? Hey, I don't ever want to be in this referee situation. I'm serious. This is also one of my biggest fears in life. Yeah, he's taking a nap at the 35-yard line. He's asleep. He looks like Manny Pacquiao when he got knocked out by Maidana. I mean, you know how hard you gotta be hit to fall face down forward. He's completely knocked out. No, I'm serious. I don't know what you did, but you deserve that. For somebody to hit you like that and you face first, you completely earned it. 100%. I don't want to be in that situation. I really don't. I don't want to ever be in that situation. Please don't. You don't care about me if you're going to film me in that situation. Now the whole internet laughing at me. Somebody knows who that man is. I don't know who he is, but there is somebody. That group chat that he is in is going crazy. Hey, man, I saw your picture. Hey, man, what picture are you talking about? You know the picture I'm talking about. You was planking at the 22-yard line. You looked asleep in the red zone. That's what people are telling you in their group chat. Absolutely crazy. All right, coming up on the other side, let's talk a little bit of NFL because there's a handful of stories going around. Do you guys remember that song, Return of the Mac? And he was like, you lied to me. There's a lot of lying going on right now in the NFL. I'll tell you what it is. Keep it right here on You Bet or You Bet.
Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep, going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in? He's down to the 5.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports.
When you really think about this song, the core of this song is you lied. You told me one thing that didn't end up being the case, and now the Mac is back. I'm back outside. I was trying to be loyal and faithful to you, but you played me, and now I'm back. I want to tell you 3 liars. We're going to talk baseball coming up at the top of the hour. We're excited that baseball is back. Spring is here. It was 81 degrees yesterday at opening day at Kauffman Stadium. I mean, I'm in a great mood today, you know? I took my allergy medicine. I'm not sneezing. My eyes aren't watering. Everybody's in a good spot. So I want to tell you about 3 liars. Let's start with liar number 1. You heard the Brandon Ayuk highlight. Now, at first, San Francisco was just going to outright release Brandon Ayuk. Remember that story we got last year? Diana Rossini released it, and then Mike Silver released it, and we were going to get all of this information about Brandon Ayuk. Well, we got new information now about Brandon Ayuk. This is Mike Florio and Chris Sims at NBC Sports about the latest with San Francisco's wide receiver. Can you guys play it for me? All right, we'll hear the audio here coming up in a bit with Brandon Ayuk. But with Brandon Ayuk, they said they were going to release him. It appears right now they are not going to release him, and now they're trying to get some draft pick about Brandon Ayuk. No. Everybody in the world knows that he is not going to play for you anymore. You have to be willing to eat the charge when it comes to Brandon Ayuk. You got to be willing to eat it. And if you're not willing to eat it, then you need to do everything in your power to try to patch it up. You were on the hook for 1 more year financially with Brandon Ayuk. This year, Brandon Ayuk has a $14 million cap hit and $34 million in dead cap. Now, I understand that there is not a team that wants to just eat $20 million in cap space. And you're not excited about paying Brandon Ayuk to go play for another team. I mean, you gave Brandon Ayuk $76 million guaranteed. You have not gotten good money back on your guarantee. That's the game. That's the game. He was unhappy at first. You remember, you were going to trade him to the New England Patriots. You then made the decision to not trade him. There also was the time where he potentially could have got traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys made the decision to keep him. You made the decision to pay him. He then got injured. All of those feelings still existed with Brandon Ayuk. And now look at you. You're heading into 2026, and you have a player that you necessarily don't want to keep, but really has no value on the market. Why would I trade for this contract if I'm another team? Like, why would I let San Francisco off of the hook? There's no reason to let San Francisco off the hook. Like, literally no reason to let them off the hook. None whatsoever. You paid Brandon Ayuk. He's your problem. If you want to release him, sure, we'll reach an agreement with him, but we're not doing anything else. I still think Brandon Ayuk can help you in the National Football League. And we're talking about a guy who's 28 years old, a guy who is coming off a significant leg injury, but the last 2 seasons he was healthy, 78 catches for 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns, 75 catches for 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. Then he got the big contract. Now, again, he got hurt in 2024, didn't play at all in 2025. So we're talking about, it's a large period of inactivity. But I'd roll the dice on Brandon Ayuk. I'd roll the dice. I'm rolling the dice on like a 3-year, $42 million deal. I'm not rolling the dice on what his current contract is. Why would I do that? To San Francisco, you lied. It's that simple. You lied. Just release him. Release him. Move on. Sometimes you got to take your medicine. Sometimes you got to eat your vegetables, and you just got to move on. That's thing number 1 with the San Francisco 49ers. We'll get the audio for you guys here coming up in a bit. I do want you guys to hear what was said about Brandon Ayuk from Pro Football Talk. The other person that I want to tell you lied to us I mean, this elite level liar. This is Jimmy Haslam. Now, Jimmy Haslam, he is the owner for the Cleveland Browns. 1 year ago, the owner of the Cleveland Browns said that the Deshaun Watson trade was a, quote, big swing and a miss. That's when he was telling the truth. That was his truth shining through. If I was the one that was paying Deshaun Watson these last couple of years to either be one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league or not healthy, I would feel the exact same way. At the league meetings last year, he called it a big swing and miss. Now, what do you know? This year, you got a new head coach. Spring optimism is in the air. Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, said that Deshaun Watson, quote, has a great chance for a fresh start with new first-year coach Todd Monken. Quote, Deshaun has a great chance, a fresh start, offensive-minded head coach who has in the past been able to work with all kinds of different quarterbacks to make him successful. So Deshaun has a great chance to do that now. We talked to him the other day. He said he weighs the least that he has in several years. He's in great shape. He'll be in Cleveland on April 7th when we start our offseason workout program. Let's see what Deshaun can do. We're all excited. No, we're not. We are not all excited about what Deshaun Watson can do. He's been fooling you. There have been two completely different versions of Deshaun Watson. There's the Deshaun Watson that we had no clue about his personal life. There's the Deshaun Watson that now we seem to know everything about his personal life. He's not the same quarterback that he was. Mentally, he's not the same quarterback physically at this point. I don't know how you can argue it. Before we found out about Deshaun Watson, he was one of the faces of the National Football League. Remember, he was like building houses for single families in Georgia because he grew up in one with Warwick Dunn. I'll never forget, there was a game. It was after I think they played the Atlanta Falcons. And Deshaun Watson is like breaking down defenses and explaining. And we're like, man, he's so smart. You know, we used to all like Deshaun Watson. Great player at in Clemson, clean cut, superstar quarterback. Deshaun Watson was really trending to be that guy. And then we found out about his Instagram misdealings. And then we found out he was Mr. Nasty Man. And since that point, Deshaun Watson has thrown 19 touchdown passes since COVID. 19 touchdown passes since COVID with 12 interceptions and has a sub-80 quarterback rating. Cleveland, it's over. It's over. This is the fate of the football gods. You traded for Deshaun Watson when you didn't have to. And if you remember correctly, Deshaun Watson was under a contract with the Houston Texans. It hadn't yet kicked in with Deshaun Watson. They then gave him a completely different contract that started a whole other chain of events in the National Football League. That was the whole tampering issue and the collusion issue with Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. Yeah, that was because of Deshaun Watson's contract. Cleveland, you lied to us. He does not have a great chance. There is no fresh start for Deshaun Watson in the National Football League. He has the scarlet letter for in. Nasty. That's how we all feel about Deshaun Watson. He's nasty. So, no, there is no great chance. There is no fresh start. There's none of that. No. It is if you're Cleveland, it's how quickly can we get out of this contract? Because you locked yourself into fully guaranteed money. They gave Deshaun Watson 5 years, $230 million, fully guaranteed. You owe me every single dollar. They got one more year with Deshaun Watson's contract. Yes, that's how long. They have one more year of that 5-year, $230 million deal. Deshaun Watson's dead cap is $131 million. If they just cut Deshaun Watson right now, it would count $131 million against the cap. You're stuck. You can't sell me. To quote Jay-Z, you can't sell me BS. We know the prices. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can sell me with Deshaun Watson. He's nasty. I know it and you know it. So let's just get through this year. We're going to be bad again because we're Cleveland. And then we can just start all over and we can find our new quarterback. The last lie that I want to tell you guys about, this is the Ravens. Now, this offseason, I mean, they're the gold medalist in the Liar Olympics. Like, we just had the Winter Olympics. We then had the Liar Olympics, and Baltimore won going away. I mean, this was like Usain Bolt in 2012. phenomenal lies we've heard this offseason from the Baltimore Ravens. So the Ravens say that it's our fault that the Max Crosby thing was such a big deal. Their team president came out on Monday and said that this has no effect on their reputation and that the criticism that everybody levied at Baltimore was due to a, quote, slow news cycle. I mean, if there's one thing that's slow, it's the beginning of NFL free agency. I mean, there's never other stories that just pop up at the beginning of free agency. I mean, it's not like other teams only the Ravens were doing something in the middle of March to try to improve their team. So he really had nothing else to talk about. Quote, we got strong and long relationships around the league. We have emphasized the importance of doing things the right way, and we'll continue to do that. And we understand that this is the headline story because of its profile and its significance. We believe our relationships to the extent you need time to repair them and people understand who we are and what we are about. When you have high-profile transactions like this and opportunities like this, it's unfortunate. But sometimes these things do happen. No fault of Max or ours or the Raiders. It's just how things played out. That's not what happened. We were all there. We were there. We saw what happened. You guys traded for a player that everybody knew was injured. You saw an opportunity to get your draft picks back, and you saw the opportunity to go pick up a comparable pass rusher with a better injury history, and you took it. Don't gaslight us. Don't lie to us. We know what happened. You lied. For weeks, you lied to us. Because if there's one thing I think we should know is a 4-year, $112 million deal for Trey Henderson doesn't just appear magically. No, you had been working on this the entire time. Quote, a source indicated to the team that the Ravens had an issue after seeing Crosby's physical, and they were concerned about his durability because of a degenerative issue in his knee. He was coming off. Everybody knew that Max Crosby was hurt. You knew Max Crosby was hurt when you paid 120 cents on the dollar and you had buyer's remorse and you went back and you took in the receipt. You don't got to go to the counter and then just come up with a lie. No, I just don't want it anymore. There was nothing wrong with it. It's not broken. It's perfectly fine. But your return policy says I can bring it back. So I'm bringing it back. Here, it's yours now. Please put the money back on my card. That's all they did.
90.
It's not a slow news cycle or you saw something on his physical. No, you saw a way to void the deal and you took the opportunity. And now we are in the best shape of our career. That's all that happened. That for our future. That's all you did. So 3 world-class liars. San Francisco lied to us. Cleveland lied to us. Baltimore lied to us. I'm sure there's some more liars. Next time I'm here, if I'm back, we'll uncover some more lies. But we uncovered a lot of lies in the last 30 minutes. That video with the fight, a lie. Never happened. Fake. You don't get knocked out in 2026 with no video.
60.
Not at all. And also, Cleveland, Deshaun Watson, the chance at a fresh start. No, he doesn't. Not in the NFL. Maybe he does for the Blackhawks. Maybe now in the NCAA, Deshaun Watson can go be the quarterback somewhere. Maybe that's a chance. I don't know. The rules they don't really seem to be any rules. Do you want to play? Can you play college sports? Well, if you physically can, then great. You can do that.
30.
Brandon Ayuk, San Francisco. You said you were going to release him. You have not released him. And Baltimore, just be honest with us. You saw a way to get out of the Max Crosby trading. You did it. You don't have to come up with anything else. It's not our fault that you voided the trade. Coming up at the top of the hour, let's celebrate the start of baseball season with Bob Nightengale. That's all coming up. Keep it right here on You Better You Bet.
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Good morning. Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be filling in here for Nick Kostos. Let's head to the phone lines right now to talk a little bit of Major League Baseball. On the line is Audacy Sports MLB insider Bob Nightengale. Check out all of Audacy's newest sports podcasts on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Bob, happy to talk baseball with you this morning.
Yeah, my pleasure. How are you doing today?
Absolutely, doing fantastic. What do you think is the top storyline in the first 4-5 days of the season?
It's probably the ABS challenge system. A lot's been made of that, just on the how many guys are using it and calls being overturned, when to use it. So I think that strategy will evolve. So I think that's been the most dominant story. Team-wise, probably nothing, jumps out. Maybe the Washington Nationals, beating up on the Cubs and beating up on the Philadelphia Phillies. They're supposed to lose 100 games this year, if not, 105 to 110. So that's been a mild surprise for sure.
How do you feel the ABS system is working?
They're working well. I think that strategy will evolve in time as far as, better save some for the ninth inning. I think the players love it. I'm not sure the umpires do. Some guys can be embarrassed. I think C.B. Buckner had 8 calls, 6 overturned. So no umpire wants to see that. Just like, but I think it's here to stay, and I also think this kind of opens a window that we're going to have a full ABS system probably within 5 years where everything's just going to be computerized.
One thing that has really surprised me the most from just seeing it in person and just seeing the highlights of it is it surprises me how quick it is. Like when I look at instant replay in other sports, you notice how long it takes. It's been kind of startling to me how quick the ABS system has been.
Yeah, it's about 15, 20 seconds. And as you've seen, particularly in Cincinnati over the weekend, fans get into it. You see a little bit of, in tennis where people are oohing and ahhing, but now you're, outright cheers and everything else. So the fans really get a kick out of it. And this shows, too, that some of these pitches that are being missed are just barely. I mean, it's almost like, by millimeters. So I think in some ways, too, it shows that the umpires have been a lot more accurate than people think over the years.
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of stood out to me as well is, how close it is on the margins, where I feel like we used to give that to pitchers a lot of times. And it's been really interesting to see hitters and just their feel for the strike zone, because they are confident that this is outside of the strike zone. And more times than not, they've been right.
Yeah, I mean, the catcher's been really on top of that thing. And, the hitters, too. The pitchers have been off. I think a lot of teams tell their pitchers, you're not using it because you think every pitch you throw is a strike. So it's been used for, I think, like a handful of times by pitchers, and they have not had a good success rate. So I think it will stick mostly to the catchers and hitters, throughout the year.
You mentioned that you think it's going to evolve over time. How do you think it's going to evolve?
I just think that, it won't be a challenge system. It'll just be straight, computerized, that everything, you still have an umpire stand there, but you'll have a, earpiece, and he's not calling one single pitch. It'll all be done by the computer. I think we're going to see that next 5-6 years from now. Just take the challenge system completely away and evolve it into that.
Ultimately,
robo umps.
Yeah, no. Ultimately, do you think that's good for the game?
I don't know. I mean, right now you're already hearing that the dugouts are a lot more quiet. You're not hearing the chirping from the players to the umpire. Obviously, you're not seeing the old days where guys on Lupinella, are picking up a base and throwing it, into the outfield or kicking dirt all over the umpire. So I think it loses that kind of luster. I think people, love the arguments, and now it's like, why should a manager really argue with an umpire? You're arguing with a computer. What are you going to do? You'll rip out the computer plug and and the outlet, that sort of thing. So I think it does miss we will miss the kind of the character of the game, particularly the umpire-player, umpire-manager confrontations.
Right now, we're talking to Bob Nightengale, talking a little bit of Major League Baseball. We are on the line with our Audacy Sports Insider, Bob Nightengale. Be sure to check out all of the Audacy newest sports podcasts on Spotify and Apple as well. Let's go through the divisions and get your feelings on it. Let's start in the American League. We'll go to the American League East, a very competitive division. How do you handicap that division?
Well, the Yankees had full confidence in spring training. They loved the way it looked. And they're certainly playing that way now against some great pitching. And they're feeling good about themselves. Blue Jays, kind of the co-favorite, they've been kind of beat up with some injuries. Lost Ponce last night. They've got three of their top pitchers on the injured list. So, here's a chance for the Yankees to pull out for a little bit. Boston's offense has just disappeared. Their pitching, has been okay, but the offense has been miserable. Baltimore, same thing. Is like, the big knock on them was they never got that star or that stud starter in the free agency, and I think it's haunting them a little bit already.
Last year, great year for Toronto, great year for the Yankees. Do you think that Baltimore can take that next step forward? Because it felt like a couple of years ago they were up next, and it's just never materialized.
No, 2 years ago they won 100 games and looked like, okay, here they come. They have a big window, and it hasn't. Then they went backwards last year, and end up firing their manager and everything else. I think offensively they've taken a step forward, but pitching wise, they never got that that big time free agent. So I'm not sure. They're going to challenge the Yankees and Blue Jays. I think they can certainly make the playoffs as a wild card team, but I still think they're a little step back from those two teams.
Let's move to the American League Central. The Tigers were the favorite coming into the division. A lot of people like the Royals. A lot of people like Cleveland as well. What are your thoughts on the American League Central?
I think it's certainly Detroit's division to lose, particularly getting Framber Valdez. Re-signed, brought back Justin Verlander, who has struggled. They struggled in the spring, and that was a game last night, struggled last night, just, 3 2/3 innings, gave up 5 runs. They got hit hard. So they need to, fix that problem. Good offense. Kevin McGonigal is a real thing. The kid infielder. So I still think Detroit's clearly the team to beat. They better win the division. And this is the last year of Tarek Skubal being there. They got to take advantage of that.
Looking at the American League West, it seems like it's in between Seattle or Houston in that division. Is that how you handicap it?
Seattle for sure. Got the great young pitching. It's amazing they've squandered that over the years. They finally, made the playoffs last year and one game away from the World Series. The sleeper, I think, is the Texas Rangers. They got some great young pitching. As soon as Jacob deGrom comes back, he had a little stiff neck, missed his first start. But that's a good team. It's a healthy team. Skip Schumacher's done a nice job there already. So, watch out for the Rangers. I still think Seattle's a team to beat, but Texas could put a scare into them.
Do you see a possible sleeper in the American League? You mentioned the favorites. Do you see a Kansas City? You mentioned a Texas. We talked about Baltimore there briefly. Outside of those top 3 or 4 teams in the American League, do you think there's a sleeper that could win 85 to 90 games?
I think Texas is that sleeper. No one's talking about them for the playoffs or anything else, and Seattle in the division. But I think Wyatt Langford could be MVP candidate. I think Texas is a team to watch out for. When you talk to scouts or everything else, they say no one's talking about this team, but this team is very dangerous.
Right now, we're talking a little baseball with Bob Nightengale, celebrating the start of the baseball season as we're having opening days around the sport. Let's jump from the American League to the National League. The NL East, 4 of those teams are off to 3-1 starts. That's obviously not going to hold up. This feels like the Mets and everybody else.
Yeah, the Phillies, I still think this is the Phillies division. I know they got up to a rocky start here. It's still a team that won 96 games last year. Everybody's coming back. So I still like the Phillies in the division. We'll see about the Mets. Nice start. They've completely, changed it, turned that thing around. clubhouse culture. They thought they had a problem. Obviously, horrific nosedive last year, changed the chemistry and stuff in the clubhouse. We'll see how it works. But I still like Philadelphia over the Mets. And we'll see about Atlanta. I mean, they've had so many pitching injuries, and they never went outside to get help. But so far so good, and they certainly you got the position players, and if Ronald Acuna can bounce back and be the Acuna of old, the MVP Acuna, then I think you might have something special. But right now I still think it's Phillies, Mets, Atlanta.
It's weird to me to have a conversation about the National League Central and not have St. Louis there in the mix. I think they are a good team. I don't know if they can win the division. Feels like Chicago should win that division. How do you handicap the NL Central?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time since the late 90s that the Cardinals are undergoing a rebuild. So, yeah, they're going to, you got a chance to lose 100 games. So, yeah, very strange for Cardinal fans. But they feel like, to get where they want to go, they got to tear it down. It seems like every single year we say this is the Cubs division. They're the favorite. And once again, we're saying that. But, you look up every year and the Brewers win that thing. They won, 3 in a row for the last 5. Brewers are still a very good team. They got some kind of magical formula, maybe the beer suds in Milwaukee, but it works. So I still think it's a, two-headed monster right there. And I think both the Brewers and the Cubs both make the playoffs. We'll see which one wins the division.
Is there any reason to have a serious conversation about the NL West? I mean, the Dodgers are going to win probably 105 games. Is there any chance they're even challenged in that division?
No, there isn't. I think the Cubs. I mean, I'm sorry. I think the Dodgers don't even win 100. I just think that cruise because they're going to save everybody for the postseason. They're going to give guys rest and everything else. I'm not sure there's a team in the division that's capable of winning more than 85 games. Might even struggle to win 500. I think the Padres are down. The Rockies are, of course, down again. The Diamondbacks are more of a 500 team. Giants, kind of a tough read. I think they got a chance to win maybe up to 85, 81 to 85 wins. But I agree that, the Dodgers have got this thing sewn up already.
I asked you about a sleeper in the American League. Do you have one in the National League? I'm trying to think. Maybe, probably Atlanta. It's almost like with all the pitching injuries, nobody ever talks about them, but they know how to win with Walt Weiss. The other sleeper, I would say, with the Giants. They still have a very good team, good pitching. They played well in spring training. So you got a tough read on them. Rookie manager who's never even been professional baseball before with Tony Vitello. So they could be that kind of sleeper. They certainly have enough star power. So if they slide in, when you got Logan Webb and Robbie Ray, it could cause some damage, in the playoffs. But let's see if they get in. I know we have a long way to go until we get there, but what's the current situation when it comes to labor peace? The game feels like it's in such a very healthy place right now, but it does appear there's a cloud over the sport.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, not until December 1st, when the players aren't going to go on strike. So wait for the lockout, and we'll see how long it lasts. I mean, last time they had it, they still squeezed in 162 games, so that could still happen. I don't think it'll be a lengthy one like some people think. I think, will there be a lockout? Yeah. But I think it's going to see who blinks first and if they can get anything close to a hard salary cap. Maybe do more of a soft type of thing. But, the big thing is just, the owners have to get together and say, okay, how are we going to resolve this disparity? When the Los Angeles Dodgers are making $330 million a year just off local TV, there's teams like the Brewers making $20 million a year. Some way they got to rectify that and make sure more teams are on equal footing.
How far apart do you think the players and the owners are when it comes to the money?
Well, I think just the word salary cap. The players don't want to hear it. The owners say, let's get to competitive balance. We need that sort of thing. teams like the Dodgers are just, making that kind of money. It's almost like what Andrew Friedman, their president of baseball operations, said. Would people be more happy if we were just lining our owners' pockets with the money instead of giving it back to giving to the players? So I think it's good to have a juggernaut like that. I mean, we had that with the Yankees. We had it obviously, in the NFL with the Patriots and Chiefs and 76ers, Celtics, Lakers, the NBA. So I think it's good to have a team like that. I think it's fun for fans, either if you're in LA loving it or live outside LA hating it.
That was Audacy Sports MLB insider Bob Nightengale. Check out all of Audacy's newest sports podcasts on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Bob Nightengale with USA Today. Bob, great stuff. Look forward to catching up with you as the baseball season continues to progress.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's Bob Nightengale joining us on the show today. Coming up on the other side, we'll talk about this trend now with the 999 challenge, as Major League Baseball teams have kind of adopted it. If you complete this 999 challenge, can you say that you actually did it? We'll also reset things coming up on the other side as well. And we'll talk about Victor Wembanyama's night yesterday, as he had 41 points and 16 rebounds yesterday and had the fastest double-double since 1997. That's all coming up. Keep it right here on You Bet or You Bet.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports.
Harrison, very happy to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. We were talking about Victor Wembanyama, who had the fastest triple-double or double-double in almost 20 years. He had 10 points and 10 rebounds in the first 8 minutes of the game yesterday. And we are talking about just an absolute unicorn, an absolute alien. That's who Victor Wembanyama is. We're going to be joined by Nick Friedell here coming up in a little bit. We are heading into the home stretch right now in the NBA. One thing that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, I'll be interested to get Nick's thoughts, is there's a chance that the Knicks end up getting the 4 seed in this. The Pistons are going to get the 1. The Celtics are likely going to get the 2. If you look at the schedule for the Knicks down the stretch and how well Cleveland has played since the addition of James Harden, there's a chance that the Knicks end up getting the 4 seed, which could end up being a good thing. I think they're clearly better than Toronto. We'll see what happens with Cade Cunningham and what his status looks like. So maybe if you get them in the second round, that will end up being a positive thing. If you're the Knicks, just taking a closer look at the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference is, I would say at this point, kind of straightforward. We know who the 1 seed is. We know who the 2 seed is. I would say the Lakers are going to hold off that 3 seed as well. We also don't have really any competition when it comes into the play-in game. The Western Conference, for the most part, is kind of locked in. The Eastern Conference is a little bit different. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Nick Friedell. He is our Audacy Sports NBA insider. All insider calls are brought to you by Hyundai, and check out the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. Nick, happy to have you on the show today, my man.
Carrington, it's good to be with you, man.
Absolutely. As we are heading into these final 8 to 10 games in the league, what are you looking for the most?
I think the key to me is I want to see if there's anyone in the East that looks like it is going to be able to get through Boston. I've seen the Celtics a couple times live the last couple of weeks, and I just think with the momentum that they have, they're just a little bit better than everybody else on that side of the draw. So many of these teams now are tanking. You take these regular season games for what they are in the moment, but as we head down the stretch here, I'm looking at that East race, and I'm saying, all right, we're going to wait to see what happens with Cade when he returns, how that looks. I just don't see, as we're sitting here right now, a team that's going to be able to get through Boston 4 games in any series leading into the finals.
I want to get back to Boston here in a little bit, but you mentioned tanking, and it feels like, a third of the league is currently doing that. Do you like the proposed changes that were thrown out to curb this problem?
Hell no. I think what we're going to see, if those are the changes, are teams just figuring out different ways to lose earlier on. If those are the only options the league comes up with, then we've got an even bigger problem. And Carrington, I watched, I'll give you more context. I watched the Wizards the other night in San Francisco. They were stopping the guys who were playing well on a team that is awful to begin with, and they took them out. I mean, it is the worst I've ever seen it in about 20 years covering the league. And it is a gigantic problem because if you're walking into a game and you want to watch your team win and they're actively trying to lose, then your product is in really, really bad shape. And there are teams all over the league right now that are actively trying to lose. They're trying to make moves, especially late in games, to give themselves a worse shot down the stretch. And it's just awful. I mean, I grew up like so many other people, watching every night and wanting to see the best product that there could be. And the product right now, because of this issue, is terrible on the whole. And I think those initial ideas that got floated recently, I don't think they're going to change much. I mean, somebody will figure out a way to undercut that. There's got to be better ways to try and erase what's going on out of the game. I don't know if you're ever going to fully be able to do it, but the longer it stays, the longer the stain of tanking will be on the NBA. And when you start talking to players and coaches that have been in the league a long time and they tell you this is the worst they've ever seen it, well, then you understand where things got to the point that they are.
Everyone is offering a suggestion right now. Do you have one to stop the tanking?
The one that I keep going back to is trying to flatten the odds. But, the first time a really good team gets the first pick again, then we'll be all jumping in to different ideas as to what else can happen. I mean, Carrington, this is the problem for the league. There is no cure-all to me from what I've seen. Everybody's got an idea. You've got to sit and go through all the different plans. But I think the biggest thing that has stuck out to me is Adam Silver last week at the Board of Governors saying, all right, we're going to get rid of tanking, full stop. Well, how? How are you going to do that? So they've got to keep trying. I appreciate that they're trying to be active about it, but it never should have gotten to this point in the first place, because it's like this draft class and all the talent that's in there. Everybody's sitting there going, you got to get rid of it. Okay, fine, but it shouldn't have gotten to the place that it's at already. And if the best way that bad teams feel like they can get better is to lose games for a potential draft slot, well, then again, the product wasn't in a good place to begin with. So I haven't heard the answer. I think that taking out some of the protections of the teams that lose the most would be a good start, but I'm still looking for answers like everybody else.
Right now, we're talking to Nick Friedell, who covers the NBA. A lot of stories as we are heading down the home stretch in the association. Let's go back to talking about Boston. You mentioned Jason Tatum. How do you think he's looked in his return?
I think he's had some uneven moments, and clearly there's some rust, as there always was going to be. Carrington, I give him a hell of a lot of credit, though, because there are plenty of guys that would have had that injury, and they would have said flatly, I'm not coming back next year. It's not going to happen. And here's Tatum trying to get into his rhythm before the playoffs start. I think when you watch him, there are moments where you see the old Tatum who was just dominant, who could get to wherever he wanted on the floor and get rolling. And there are some times now as he's rehabbing and going through getting his minutes in at the moment where you're like, all right, well, he still needs to find his way through after being off for so long. So I would hold to he will be much better in 2 months, potentially, if the Celtics are still playing, than he is right now. The bigger thing to me is the Celtics are very well coached. Joe Mazzulla has that team clicking everywhere they need to be on the floor. The younger guys, I take a guy like Peyton Pritchard, who got a lot more minutes in the wake of the beginning of the season. Those guys are playing well. Jaylen Brown has had a nice year, but the emotional boost that they've gotten by having Tatum back at all, by seeing him on the floor and knowing that he's an option, that's why I think that between the talent and between the fact that they know they've done it before and they've gotten their title and they've been close and they know what it feels like, I just think they are a little bit above everybody else in that East race.
I have Boston as the favorite in the Eastern Conference heading into the postseason. Do you have them as the favorite?
Absolutely. I don't see any one of those other teams. I mean, we go through them quickly and saying, Detroit has the questions with Cade, on top of the fact that while they had some experience last year, they haven't gotten to the top yet in the conference. Cleveland, I know they've had some good moments in the last month or so. Carrington, I will believe it when I see it, when James Harden produces when he needs to consistently in the playoffs. I've seen that play way too many times. Harden is still an unbelievable scorer. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He can drop 40 in a playoff game. There are other times where he could just have 6. And you can't have that for a guy that you need to lean on behind Donovan Mitchell and expect to go all the way to the finals. The Knicks, I love Jalen Brunson. He is a hell of a player. It's the same kind of thing, though. If you're counting on Karl Anthony Towns in big moments, good luck to you. And I've never felt like, even after the coaching switch, going from Tibbs to Mike Brown, they have found a realistic way to put together great performances night after night after night. And checks off all the boxes they're going to need to make the run they're going to need in the East. I think it's the best possible point for them, because the longer the Knicks can stay away from the Celtics, the better off they'll be. They know they can beat the Pistons. We don't know what's going on with Cade. The Raptors have had a really nice year. I just don't think they're as good as the Knicks. And Carrington, I might be naive after all these years, but I still say, for any team to go into the Garden against a healthy Knicks team in a 7-game series, I do think that factors in. Now, if they're all hurt at the end, as we've seen in years past, and they're just out of gas, that's a different story. But give me the Knicks over, let's say, Toronto in that case, in a 7-gamer, and I would absolutely take my chances with Detroit because of the uncertainty around Cade. So, no doubt. I mean, you don't know how it's all going to shake out in the last couple of weeks of the regular season, but if the Knicks can get to that 4 spot, I think it gives them a lot better chance. Carrington, if we were betting on futures and we could put down some money on if Victor's going to win an MVP next year, give me that right now. Because when he said what he said the other night, and that started to get some play across the league on defense is 50% of the game, and I believe that I'm the guy, all I thought to myself was, his time isn't coming this year because I think Shea's going to win it again, but it will be here very soon. And if he continues to stay healthy and he becomes the defensive player of the year and he continues to improve offensively, he's the guy. I mean, he's going to be the guy several times, but I think he will be that guy next season. So as far as awards go, it's too late for him, at least in my opinion, to cross over that much right now because Shea's been so great and that team, the Thunder, are still so good. But if Victor stays on the floor and keeps improving, there's your MVP next season, at least to me. And I think it's the start of a run that we haven't seen in a while. But to exactly your point, I agree with you completely. He's not going to jump Shea at this point because the narrative has been out, and that is such a narrative-based award. But the story is in motion as we speak. And I'm not sold that the Spurs can come together this quickly and get all the way to the finals, but it's not completely out of the question anymore because Victor is that good. When you watch him, you watch some player that we haven't seen before as far as the length goes, the shooting ability, and the defense. His time is almost on the way, but I think the Thunder and Shea have that held down one more time this season.
A point I made earlier, Nick, is this, that we throw out the term generational. That's not to say there have not been other great basketball players during this time frame, because they have been. Like Dwayne Wade, for example. You knew coming out of Marquette he had a chance of being a good pro. He turned out to be a good pro. I never looked at Dwayne Wade as being a generational talent. There have been three, in my opinion, over the last 30, 35 years. Shaq was one of those. LeBron was one of those, and Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if we've seen anything like this before. When you factor in his size, his ability to shoot it from the outside, put it on the floor, I think you can argue that he's already the best defensive player in the NBA, and he's 20, 21 years old. Like, we're looking at a true unicorn, a true alien, a true one-of-one.
I agree with you completely on Wemby. He is unlike any other player I've ever seen. The only other player I'd throw maybe in that category, and it's not a player that we haven't seen before, but I think he's generational as far as the impact goes, would be Kobe. But that's a different argument. In the moment, what I would tell you about Wemby, Carrington, is the thing that strikes me is when you go to watch him, you're seeing things that you've never really seen before. And I tell you anecdotally, when I talk to my friends across the league and they go to see him, and then the texts start popping up during the games, they're like, dude, this guy is incredible. And I think he had that reputation coming into the draft. I mean, he had the hype around him, and maybe he didn't jump into the regular casual fan interest level the way the league might have hoped in that first year, and then he got hurt last year, and you're kind of going, all right, well, let's see what happens now. Well, he's here now. I mean, we are only a matter of time before we look at this dude and we say not only MVP and not only NBA champion, but he is the face. And at 7'5", he certainly is a different type of player than we've seen. But there's no question, like, he is the guy that's going to draw people out of their homes to come to see him. And the guys that you mentioned on that list, those are the type of players that we're talking about, that make people that don't follow the league that much want to go watch him play when he comes to town. And it's a credit to the way he's performed in a short time. But even more, what has impressed me is he's not afraid to say some stuff. He's not afraid to go into an all-star game where nobody plays hard and changes the tenor of how we look at it. So I respect him on that front a whole hell of a lot, because there are guys with a hell of a lot of talent who've come into the league and they just kind of go through the motions at times. I don't get that sense when I watch this guy play, and I think he takes pride in the fact that every time he goes out there, there are people who haven't seen him before, and he wants to try and put on a show. And it's the old MJ quote from years and years ago. I mean, you never know who's watching. I think Wemby wants to be a guy that sets a standard for everybody else to follow.
I'll get you out of here with this last thing. One thing I hate to turn into sometimes is the things were better back in my day guy, but just sometimes it just was. Did you know that tonight we have the McDonald's All-American game? This used to be one of my favorite events. Now I have no clue who's playing it, and maybe we're just getting old, Nick.
I still remember being in college, going to the dorm TV watching the McDonald's game. And I look, I'm with you. I used to know who was in there. I don't have any clue now. I mean, part of that is I went to Syracuse, and they've really taken a downturn on the talent that's in the program. But the other part of it is I think that people have been so kind of turned off by what's going on in the high school game at times. You've got guys going to the G League. People just don't know as much, I feel like, in the last 10 years as they used to. But I think it's a really good point, because I had no idea that was happening tonight. And what makes me even sadder is I used to be able to name at least 5 or 6 guys that were playing in that game. I don't have any idea now, and it doesn't have the same kind of relevance in the basketball community as it used to. So I only say that in the context of I've covered the league now for 20 years, and I don't think the day-to-day importance of the league has the same intensity that it used to. And I hope that everything can get fixed and it can go back to normal. But I think part of that is that you have to have a care factor each night when guys are going out there. And as I watch these games, especially at the end of a long regular season, it feels like the All-Star game sometimes. And guys are just kind of going through it. And we started the conversation talking about tanking, and we're ending it now going on, well, nobody knows the McDonald's game is happening, and the NBA is in bad shape. And I think both things are true, and both things are bad for the game.
To just take it back 20 years here, and I'll get you out of here with this. So the 2006 McDonald's All-American Games, the East starters, Ty Lawson, Lance Thomas, Thaddeus Young, Gerald Henderson, Greg Oden. They had Mike Conley and Wayne Ellington and Brandon Wright coming off the bench for the West. Listen to this. Like, this is a real who's who of college basketball. Kevin Durant, Sharon Collins, Robin Lopez, Spencer Hawes, and Chase Budinger of Arizona volleyball fame. And, oh, yeah, coming off the bench, Darrell Arthur, DJ Augustine, and Duke head coach John Shire. That was the McDonald's All-American Game 20 years ago.
I mean, what's crazy, though, is, that's a hell of a lot of pros. And maybe it has been the case even in these last few years. But to exactly your point, the relevance of that game has fallen off in a major way. And there are probably a lot of different reasons for it. But when I watch the draft these last few years, Carrington, and I'm going, somebody who really enjoys the college game, who are these guys? Like, where did some of these guys come from? You've got more of a problem. And I know there's more money in the college game with NIL, and things have changed a little bit. But it is something that I've thought about that comes into a lot more focus when you have nights like this, when this is a night the game used to be celebrated. And if I turn on the TV tonight, I couldn't tell you who's going to be out there.
That was Audacy Sports NBA insider Nick Friedell. Our insider calls are brought to you by Hyundai and the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. Nick, I enjoyed going down just a nostalgic road with you with the McDonald's All-American Game, man. I appreciate you.
It's always good to be with you, buddy. Have a good one.
Absolutely. That is Nick Friedell joining us on the show, talking a little bit of NBA. You know what? Why don't we take another nostalgic trip down the McDonald's All-American Game? Yes, that is coming on later today. The future pros of tomorrow you can watch later tonight in the McDonald's All-American Game. Why don't we do that to close out the show? We'll do that next. You bet or you bet.
it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good! With .3, UConn goes in front!
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving all branches of the armed service, veterans, and their families. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Our members are the mission. Special thanks to all of our special services. The Defensive Player of the Week, just what a turn of events. I got UConn at 17-1 to win the national championship, and I didn't hedge. I'm just like, hey, I got to at least get them. We get to the Final Four, we can have a conversation. You got to get out of your region before we start talking about hedging. So just the swing of emotion that I went through on Sunday, thinking that I completely threw this money away, to like, hold on, they got a chance, to watching them hit that shot. Oh, my goodness. It's one of my greatest memories I've ever had of the NCAA tournament. It's one of the greatest shots in the history of the NCAA tournament. Speaking of 17-1, I want to encourage you to log into the BetMGM app to receive your any sports boost parlay token. To use the boost token, add a parlay wager made up of any sports wager to your bet slip, activate the token. If you win your wager that was made with the token, you're going to get some extra winnings. So download the BetMGM app today. Get ready for the last couple of games in college basketball. We got baseball going on right now. The NFL draft is coming up. There's a lot happening in sports, so be sure to get set up with BetMGM. Before we get out of here, can we just go on a nostalgic trip with the McDonald's All-American game? Like, I could name a couple of guys playing today. I mean, mostly because two of them are going to Missouri, so I'm actually very interested in the McDonald's All-American game. I don't know a whole lot of kids playing in this thing. That used to not be the case. So we went through the 2006 team on the other side. If you go back to 1996, I mean, listen to this. Tim Thomas, Steven Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal, Shaheen Holloway. Shout out to Shaheen Holloway, the head coach at Seton Hall. Ed Cota, who went to North Carolina. Richard Hamilton. You guys might have heard of this guy. Kobe Bryant was on the team. On the other team, Mike Bibby, Mateen Cleaves, Lauren Woods. What happened to the McDonald's game? Hell, even in 2016, maybe I'm now just being nostalgic for the sake of being nostalgic. Lonzo Ball, Malik Monk, Josh Jackson, Jared Allen. I mean, the McDonald's game used to, and then on the East is crazy. Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo, Miles Bridges, De'Aaron Fox, Markelle Fultz. That was the top 5 guys on the East All-Stars for the McDonald's game. I mean, Jason Tatum's going to be a Hall of Famer. Bam will probably be a Hall of Famer. Markelle Fultz was the number 1 overall pick in his draft class. De'Aaron Fox is going to be like a 15-year pro. Miles Bridges is a good player too, but he just got his off-the-court stuff. Just the McDonald's All-American game, it used to mean something, you know? That's what it was. It used to mean something to us. You could lead SportsCenter with the McDonald's All-American game. Not anymore. Not anymore. That is not the way that it goes. I'm really looking forward to the games that we have this weekend. You can see on the screen, Michigan, they are plus 165. Arizona is plus 180. Illinois plus 475 right now to win the championship. And Connecticut plus 550 to win the national championship. I think it's pretty clear that Arizona is the best team in college basketball. I think we will know that by Monday evening. I had a lot of fun today. Hopefully you guys did as well. I'll catch you guys down the line. My name is Carrington Harrison, filling in for Nick Kostos on You Better You Bet.